Good day, everyone. It sure is a pleasure always to spend time with you. Hopefully my schedule is getting better to do more of that because we have so many questions here we need to answer. And anything that helps us and takes us on down the road to well-bill, it's my pleasure to help be involved with that. I wanted to give a shout out to Marco because if you don't know Marco, you have to understand he's a super guy. And he's paid for that website and the fan book page, all of that he's paid for himself. And so Marco's done well. So shout out to Marco, man. You're doing really well, and keep moving on with that moveyourlymph.com. I think that's a good place to be. Some of you will get the sense of why things have to be done certain ways. And the protection of everyone is important. You're on a warring planet, if you hadn't noticed. And most governments are not friendly governments to their people. And that's because most of these people are of the intellectual narcissistic variety. And so it's tough now. We have a lot of good Tea Partiers coming up, to give you an example, that's a lot more balanced in their thinking, a lot more spiritual. And of course that was the framers here in this country of the Constitution, was spiritual. Look at Ben Franklin was an avid out-of-body traveler. So there's a lot people don't know about how things are put together and who's putting things together. But you have to protect yourself, but you also have to become strong. And that's what you're going to see happen in your lives, is things are going to make you strong, or you're going to fall. And it's needed to put up with what's going on, because people have to stand up and become strong within themselves for all levels of survival, for the planet's survival, because the mind will come in on itself and destroy itself. And that's just what it does. The mind has no control of that. The mind is a totally conditioned instrument. And so when you condition it without conscious awareness behind it, halfway controlling that, then it gets totally out of control and controlled by others. So that's why it's so important to kick back from the mind a little bit and spend some time in consciousness, which is where you really are. Consider the difference between the movie and the individual watching the movie. There was a request here I thought was pretty good. Here is why we are concerned. Here we see here. I like to share with you our concern about feeding our babies vegan diets. I know the last 4 years are very important for the development of, the first 4 years very important for the development of the brain and the body. They need high intake of protein, fat, and calcium. Wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. When you feed babies high protein, high fats, it has some serious problems with your babies. It create acidosis, and some milks ketosis. You have to be careful. And now with the young babies more compromised in their hepatic, liver, gallbladder areas and in their pancreatic areas, they can't even tolerate mother's milk. Now, protein doesn't develop the brain. I don't know what people are thinking. Amino acids are essential in the development of cells and things like that to a certain extent. Most of them are carriers. So the real need of any Homo sapien, and actually any vertebrae on this planet, is carbon. Like it or not. And carbon is sugar. Galactose in milk, fructose in fruits, and glucose in veggies. All right? You first must understand, as a mother and a father, what species the Homo sapien belongs to if you want to get right on point and understand how to feed them. Because if you feed them high proteins, you're feeding them way out of what you should. And this will only create more kidney damage, more hepatic and GI tract damage in these babies. You can't do it. High fat. Human mama's milk is not high fat, high protein. Cow's milk is. look at the difference in the rate of growth and the different species. You're comparing a Homo sapien baby to a calf, a baby calf. Different species, different rate of size at birth, and different growth factors. You feed babies cow's milk, and you might as well just sit there and clog their lymph systems. And with today's problems in the baby's adrenals and kidneys, you run the risk of giving tumors and getting your baby cancer doing these things. And then you're back there at the St. Jude's place. You want healthy babies. You want raw food babies. Where would you think in 1 minute that cooking food or grains or meats are superior foods than fruits and vegetables? That would be ridiculous thinking. The food that houses the most nutrition for the human is your fruits and berries. Fruits picked ripe, grown properly. I mean, we have to state that because some people think immediately, grocery store food. It's enough to say that your fruits and berries are king. Now, let's look at clinically. Clinically, I've got an MS case here. Or clinically, I have a Lou Gehrig's, Parkinson's, even a spinal cord injury here. What am I going to feed them to get them well? How am I going to get an MS patient that's got brain lesions, they're down in a chair, how do I get them well if all this protein and fat is important for health? And not just of the first few weeks of a baby's growth. That is vital. But in the first few weeks, your milk has a little more lipids to it. But lipids are of the lymphatic system and of the adrenal glands. You have to allow some understanding that the human body knows what it's doing with the nutrition that you're feeding it. Understanding the nutrition, if you think you feed your babies different than the adults, you're mistaken. These are little Homo sapiens. To develop a baby's neurological system and brain, you have to have high fruits and high berries. You don't do that, and you don't develop neurologically. Look at all the cases we've had where we put them on the fruits and the berries for different reasons, cancers and whatever, and they soared academically. Those youngsters that go on fruit soar academically, soar in comprehension levels, beyond what people think. It's your high protein fat babies that are like this all the time, colicky, always neurologically jittery, never peaceful and quiet. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for health. Now, health in a baby. Why would you ever feed any animal, any human, anything cooked? And nature does not dictate high protein diets to any creature except for those large babies called the herbivores. And most of those are concentrated amino acids, not even the level that they create the meat from. So you have to get back to realize that your baby is just like you, and you get your baby well just like you. I have had hundreds of babies, and we have gotten tons of them well, away from cancers, at least what medical doctors call cancers. We've done a tremendous amount of work. Some, though, have come to us in advanced stages. We couldn't even save them. Brings a tear to your eye when you understand why. They were put on high protein and high fat diets. Let me tell you, I could turn you on to some mothers that would make your ears burn and your eyes cry because they were on high protein, high fat diets and the medical doctors killed them. You can't do that. And you don't want to believe in that. If you believe in that, feed your child that. But let me tell you, you won't have a healthy baby. And you can't afford, you parents, to have unhealthy children in a world that's gone insane medically and every other way. Take a look at the obits, at the children dying. Back in the 90s, I didn't even see that amount of children dying. In the 90s, that was only a few years ago. Now we have massive amounts of children dying from cancers, well, the treatment of cancers anyway. So you want healthy babies. I've got an infant formula coming out and it's good, but I'm trying to cut it down. It is too strong. Too much nutrition can have the reverse effect is not enough. But you have to consider the same thing in your babies, guys. They are a blueprint of you. They're a blueprint of the mom, they're a blueprint of the dad, and generally grandma and grandpa, both sides to some degree. So you have to be careful. You have to look at that. And babies are not above taking herbs either. We have plenty of babies on herbs. So don't be afraid because you're dealing with a little human as opposed to a big human and want to feed them. We're all the same species. There are some babies now that can't even tolerate mother's milk, and you're seeing that more and more and more. What do? We go to the coconut milks, and we go to the coconut waters, and we go to the fruit juices. My grandson, almost exclusively fruitarian, has been since birth, with coconut water and coconut milks. Guy's a little major powerhouse. Just, there's no fat on him. The guy's twice as big as any kid his age, and he's stronger. I mean, he's hard to control. That's some of the problems. You know, you're going to have children smarter quicker. I took a 2-year-old one time. This was a biker's son. I think I told you about this in one of the videos, but the biker was very violent at first. He was president of the Outlaws of Ohio one time. To show you how bad this guy was, he walked into a Hell's Angel bar. They beat the holy crap out of him, put him in the hospital. When he got out, he walked right back in. That's how he was. He always put a shotgun up to his wife's face. So when I got him in here, I got him on raw, and he had big cysts and sores everywhere, major cirrhosis of the liver. I turned that big gut, I turned that biker guy totally around, out-of-body traveler. At AA, I got him much more opened up, very peaceful. And so his son had picked up, was only 2 years old, and was trying to break the cat's and dog's legs, had picked up this violence. So we detoxed this little 2-year-old. And all 2 years, when you're young like that, in the infant stages, you like high fevers. 104, 105 is very common fevers for a child. And as long as you keep them cold and try to keep cold in the back of the neck and maybe on the head and cool them down to 103, that's fine. But this child, we let him run 104, 105, kept him cooled, you know, as much as possible, but your body runs that. As long as you must always remember hydration. Acids dehydrate, and you see that in every walk of life in that way. I can't remember, about the 5th day it seems like, he started taking loose with black crap coming out of his bowel. This is a little 2-year-old. How did he develop so much of this black necrotic stuff at 2? And he threw a little of it up. After that, it was unbelievable. This kid would open up the refrigerator, get him a carrot, get him veggies or fruits. He didn't want anything else. When he was a freshman in high school, he created so much problems with the teacher because he was so aware that when she would say something, he would see all the things involved in it, and either the reason that wasn't true or something else about it, and that was real hard for the teacher to take. And it's going to get that way with all you raw food parents. You're really going to see your children excel at comprehension levels and awareness levels in school. And this kid was doing college courses in his freshman year. I'm telling you, this is just, you don't fear the living, don't fear the raw. Who cares what people say out there? No one really knows because no one goes raw. Those parents that have gone raw and their babies have gone raw have found fantastic results. You have to realize the weaknesses in the genetics in the children, and you're after that. You're after that child like you're after yourself. We don't just eat fruits to detox. Water fasting is detox. I just put you on a diet your body's designed to eat. Your body does its own detox because you've given it the chemistry and energy to clean itself out. Normally, when you eat that way, you would be clean because fruits and vegetables, raw, and berries are self-cleansers. They clean as you use the chemistry. How beautiful is that as a creator, to make your food self-cleaning? Cleans your teeth, cleans your bowels, cleans your kidneys. You don't have toxic residues. So what would we want to feed our babies? Grains. You know, what's healthy about grains? Di, which is many, or two or more, or many saccharides. So what you're doing is you're giving a complex starch, a dead food, nothing healthy there. I don't care if it's a whole grain. So there's nothing there to feed a child. Let me see what else. Meats and a baby? That'd be insane. Let's see what else. Beans. No, got you on that one. That's not good. High protein, high phytic acid, enzyme inhibitors inhibit the baby's digestive system. High sulfur, gassy, farty stuff. No. Let's see, what else would you want to feed your babies? You see where I'm going with this? Your babies need to eat the same way you do, except younger. And even though you hear they need to be breastfeeding for 2 years by the allopathic community, bull crap. You breastfeed them too long and you'll start feeding them full of mucus. And mucus in, mucus out. No one likes a cold and flu like that. I'm going through it myself now. No one likes to do that. I enjoy the after effect because you feel so clean and nice. But at one time or another, you put it in there. So you just have to realize that feeding your baby healthy is vital, and raw is always healthy. There's a raw food pediatrician. You can probably Google him. I don't know the name, but he's a raw food pediatrician in Miami. And you might try to seek more advice from a raw food pediatrician if you like. But we have a ton of babies we've worked on since I was a naturopath. I had infants when I first started seeing people back in the early 70s. So I worked on babies when I had health food stores before that. So you shouldn't worry about babies in that way. If you worry about anything on a baby, you worry about feeding them the wrong things, which is going to be your grains, your high proteins. You don't want to do that to a baby, or you're going to regret it. I don't know what else to say about it. Now, mamas that are pregnant, highly recommend superfood blends. I highly recommend our superfood blend too because very, very high in calcium. It's not how much calcium's in something though. You got to understand some things here. It isn't more's better, guys. It's do you digest? Do you absorb? Do you utilize, which is your hormones and steroids? And do you eliminate the byproducts from all that chemistry being metabolized and utilized by the body? Those 4 phases are essential in infants as well as the elderly. It doesn't matter. These 4 phases are key. And babies in today's world have compromised on all those levels, and particularly the neurological level from the adrenals. So, a little thimerosal, a little mercury, and you're going to have seizures, and you're going to have ADD or ADHD, you're going to have all of that. And it's only because they're already coming in here compromised. Had they not, somebody could handle a little aluminum, I guess, a little mercury, stuff like that. But no metals that build up in the body is beneficial. But according to some medical doctors, detox is ridiculous, so I guess you just keep them in your body for life, huh? But pregnant mothers, you have to look at yourself, ladies, because there are some things you can continue to do. If you're not filtering in the kidneys, I would definitely take an adrenal formula and the kidney formula. It can only help your baby. Make sure your parathyroid is up there because your baby is going to be sucking on your calcium. And you want to make sure that you're utilizing calcium properly so the baby can utilize calcium properly. Because if your parathyroid's down, so's the baby's. More than likely, unless dad or someone else pull them. And they're going to have problems with calcium, which is growth and everything else. So you really want to look at yourselves and determine your weaknesses. And I have to say, if you have a chance or time before you conceive, you definitely want to clean yourself out, particularly the mothers, because your baby is living in you for 8, 9 months, and their lymph systems are your lymph systems. Their blood flow is your blood flow. So you have to be real careful, that your lymph system's clean, because this is what we see every day in here. And we're always comparing eyes to parents and children and everything else, because everybody wants to look and know, and which you should, and then you get to see it. I appreciate the questions, because it's vital that mothers ask these questions of how to raise healthy children, because healthy children are the future. We have a ton of sick babies, and it's sad to see parents who just want to have children to raise and good babies, and they have really sickly children. It's sad stuff. Remember I told you this one case I have where this young man didn't get full growth of gray matter. And we looked in the dad's eyes and found in that area large lacunas. And so his dad was so weak in those tissues that the baby could not get growth factors going enough to grow that tissue. How interesting. Very interesting. So there's a lot that we're learning as we're watching these eyes and watching babies and watching people and their parents and all that, for sure. But don't be fooled and don't be scared. The banana is nature's perfect food, and this comes from a 3-doctorate professor. I have a friend that's a 3-doctorate professor in Canada, and he has studied fruits all his life. So if you have to believe in somebody, you have to believe in at least someone that has 3 doctorates that made a life study of the chemistry of foods. And I respect his opinion, and it's right along our opinion, is that raw living foods, and especially the fruits, and especially the berries and the bananas, are nature's perfect foods. So your children should enjoy those things. Islanders were raised exclusively on fruits, have longevity way beyond us. We see this all the time in here. We see 90 and 100-year-olds come in our clinic because we use herbs, and Islanders love herbs, thank God. And I ask them how they get so old, looking so good, and it's always the same. I was raised on a fruit diet. So don't ever think for a minute that fruits in some way are making you deficient, when in fact it's the only way you can heal and rebuild yourselves, especially neurologically. You can't rebuild yourself neurologically with vegetables. We've demonstrated that time and time and time again. So what does that have to say about baby's development of brain and nerve if it's that only level you can cure it with? You see where I'm going with that? So don't fear nothing. Fear anything. You fear man's thinking and man's concepts, not nature's, man's concepts, because they're based upon conditioned thinking. Dairymen's Association and Cattlemen's Association, you got all kinds of associations, a little slick white milk ring around the mustache syndrome. You've got all these type of slick little advertisements to try to convince you that these foods are good for you. Of course, now the studies, finally somebody's putting out some truthful studies showing that the more milk you drink, the more prone to fracture. So you want to give your babies milk? Do you want to get a living being something cooked to death? So chemically altered that it resembles plastic? I don't think so. Now, breastfeeding. The problem with breastfeeding with mothers is their own internal condition, their own acidosis and their own toxemia. And this oftentimes, it doesn't rub with the babies well because they also have your level of toxemia and a little deeper genetic weaknesses. So they don't do well. So we're seeing a lot of even raw food parents who haven't got their bodies totally healthy. Some of the babies now are rejecting mother's milk. You know, I had 3 medical doctors one time from the Honduras come in here. And they were telling me that this group CARES, and I used to donate, I don't anymore. This group called CARES went down to the Honduras and was trying to convince the native women to start drinking cows' pasteurized milk and start feeding their babies pasteurized milk instead of breastfeeding. These were 3 medical doctors from the Honduras. And they were bitching up a storm at how many lymphatic problems, how many what they call colds and flus and all the other problems they were having because of that. So here's a group that people are donating large sums of money to, that are going down trying to convince people that are already doing the right thing that they're doing the wrong thing and that they need to do the toxic stuff. What gives them the right to even think that when they have no found research or any evidence to prove that pasteurized milk is even good for you, period? You got to start thinking like species. You want to feed your babies milk and they don't go mother's milk? Find a monkey, find a chimpanzee, and good luck. So we've had babies go right on fruits within the first few weeks that couldn't tolerate any dairy products, and they did real well. So all I can tell you is that your fruit juices, and then you get into your, as they start maturing, you get into your apple sauces. Use a little cinnamon if they have digestive problems in there. And you start working your babies up into that area. These are easy to digest foods. Just because, I don't know where people are getting their information that they need to feed their babies things that make everyone else sick. The reason man has these problems is the high protein diets, the high lipid diets, the grains, the polys, the high concentrated amino acids, the high concentrated lipids. None of those are good for anybody. They're not good for animals. Animals get sick feeding them those foods. Omnivores get sick, herbivores get sick, frugivores get sick, and cats don't make it at all. So you can't do it. See where we're going with all this? The same thing we're going on this whole site, about health. Raising your babies healthy is raising your babies raw. Now, your babies might be going through some ups and downs doing that too. And I don't know what to tell you. I've learned a lot through the years of detoxing children. We detoxified one mother so rapidly her baby was breastfeeding and the baby skin started coming off and new skin was developing that was 10 times prettier and nicer. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable how nature gets rid of the weaknesses and replaces it with the strength. And you must remember that, each and every one of you, in the level of detoxification that you're at. If you've got weaknesses that you don't want to break down too quick, slow way down on your detox. Like we're talking to the gentleman that competes for Mr. Olympia. You got to get away from the proteins to break down your kidneys, or RA's coming. But you could pump high amino acids in green drinks and probably you'll get stronger muscles. But if you can't detox too fast if you're competing for muscle look. If you're a runner or any other athlete, you want to be raw, baby, and you want to dig in, get your kidneys filtering, get all these obstructions to the flow of energy out of your tissues. And you want endurance. You don't want to get tired. You just can't believe where you can go. You just can't believe where you can go. But you can't look like you're some puffed up, high protein, guy, when to some it might look good, but boy, the price one pays is horrendous. Horrendous. If this friend of mine ever comes in here, he was competed for Mr. Olympia a couple of times. He is huge, 27, 28 inch arms, huge chest. Featured on magazines. Poor guy came in with his elbows distended, his wrists distended. Sad stuff. Just sad stuff. What he of course RA, but just sad stuff. Just losing everything. And it's just there's some things just not worth it. You just have to balance and meter and be careful, guys, that you don't hurt yourselves, because your body is how you have fun here. And if your body isn't having fun and breaking down, certainly, unless you're an out-of-body traveler, consciously, you're not going to have fun either. And the same thing with your babies too, ladies. Don't ever be afraid to feed your babies living foods. And there's so many superfoods. The problem you have to concern yourself with is overnutrition. Overnutrition. Because you compromise digestive system with too much. Balance is always the key. And sometimes you can't say what that is when it comes to infants. You have to trust intuitiveness of infants to stop when it's time to stop. Pregnant women, I'm real cautious about detoxifying. You can go in and build your glands up. You can go fix your kidneys. The only herbs I'm concerned with pregnant women are the lymphatic herbs. Probably a little unjustly, because some women that are pregnant are on the herbs, the lymphatic herbs. But I'm just a little careful, especially for the first few trimesters, because weak fetuses are aborted by the body, no question about it. But particularly if your estrogen levels are all out of balance and you're estrogen dominant, chances of holding children are not good. That's why you're always good to get your pituitary, your female organs toned and healthy before you conceive. It only just makes common sense. But some people can't wait, or too late, or whoops, that sort of thing. But use that superfood blend for pregnancy, because it's just major, major, major. But look at your glands, because if your glands are down, so's the baby's glands. And that's not good. We're in a world where everybody's crashing. All the bodies are crashing. So, except for you raw foodists, there's no way on any level that you can consider cooking food makes it better for you. None. Because the food you have to cook the holy heck out of, like beans and things, they're not good cooked or raw. So, anyway, I hope that's enough, because I did want to get to some other questions, and I just am kind of in a hurry. I want to get as much of this answered as I can for you. So I hope that's enough, but please, ladies, don't ever be afraid to raise your babies raw. Are you kidding? You'll have the superior babies on the planet, just like all the raw foodists. They're getting themselves to Wellville. But it's not just being a raw foodist. We're taking you deeper into the understanding of genetics and what people's lymph systems looks like from all the past generations. And it isn't pretty. So there's a lot of fixing to do. So you just can't worry about that. You just have to get in and fix your bodies, make your children healthy. But you don't feed them the same thing that got humans sick. The milks, the meats, this is what all got humans sick. The grains, there's nothing healthy about any of these things. They're all out of chemical balance to what nature produces, and they're mostly man-grown. Not nature-produced, man-produced. Nature produces living things, fruits, veggies, greens, that sort of thing, period. Man's the one that's cultivating and hybriding and creating some of these things. Didn't say it was good for you. So we put a lot of faith in rice and starches. Wrong. Pyramid greenhouses and living foods, much better. I have tested positive for genetic defect for, oh my God, reductase MTHFR DNA 1 with 2 copies of the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Have you encountered this? Listen, I have addressed these things before. Don't buy into that. Don't buy into that, sweetheart, or you'll have yourself. They'll depower you, and they'll control you for years. Don't buy into that crap. I don't care what they say. You have no way, and neither do they, to deal with genes. God is the only one that deals with genes. They can mess with them, but they can't rebuild them. And that's what your body does, is rebuilds DNA, RNA, chromosomes, rebuilds the cell. But from what print? From what consciousness? You have to understand how creation's put together, Lisa. And we have that in our level 1, and we even put some of that on the YouTube for you guys to show you how creation is put together and how genetics works and why it isn't a physical thing. The physical is an effect, but it starts out in the middle worlds and the blueprint of the cell. So you can't worry about things like this, or medical doctors will disempower you. They can't cure anything anyway. They're not about that. They're about diseases that they created, and they're about treatment of those diseases with pharmaceuticals. There are some medical doctors that are a little more spiritual, that think outside the box and add supplements, And there are some really great medical doctors out there using our programs and getting incredible results. But those are your more spiritual medical doctors. And that's the type of medical doctor you want to go to, is one that will give you a hug instead of saying, well, you do it my way or the highway type. You want people that understand and listen, and that they can grow too. I'm not above growing ever. When you come in and talk to me, I'm listening, because I'm seeing if I can learn anything from what you're telling me. We're all in a learning curve. No one's above learning. Certainly not myself. I love learning, but I don't love learning the same old crap that circulates around all the time. So don't buy into that. They tell you you can't detox with these genes going. Don't buy into any of that crap. Go after health. Any genetic weaknesses will be rebuilt. We've demonstrated that. I've demonstrated that for my whole entire life. Jensen has too. So don't buy into some of this stuff, or they'll disempower you, fill you full of fear, and your life then is not happy because someone told you some bull crap like that. Who cares? Nothing you can do about that stuff except rebuild the cell. And how do you do that? Well, you have to understand what consciousness is. You have to understand what energy is, and understand chemistry a little bit, just what we teach here. Understand the two sides of chemistry, how the body really works, simplistically, because none of us know the nano, sub-nano levels. It's amazing. I mean, it's beyond comprehension. So people ask me why I name my herbs God's herbs, things like that. Just look at the cell and all the levels, all the way down to the sub-nano levels that man hasn't even seen yet. I mean, just to look at creation is staggering. That a divine being can issue this out of its essence. It should make everyone a complete God lover, you know. But listen, sweetheart, don't buy into that crap. Or again, they'll take you down a road to hellville, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it. This is Anna. Hi, Anna. Thanks for your time and answering my question. You betcha. I read an article today about glandulars. They mentioned that if you stay on them too long, your gland will atrophy and will no longer produce their own hormones. You know, I've never seen that. Of course, the adrenals are probably the only ones I keep anybody on long term, to be honest with you. But about after a couple of months or 3 months, I try to get into the herbal side of that. But I've never, ever seen that. Someone to ask more about that would be chiropractors, because chiropractors keep you on glandulars for years and years and years. Standard process formulas as a rule. And you can be on them for years. I don't use glandulars to get people well in that way. I use glandulars to enhance the almost dead. You know, glands that I need to get up fast. If you're sitting there with a tumor in you, knowing that if you don't get your adrenals up and you trip the kidneys to filter, you're going to sit there and just bide your time and maybe slowly use the herbs to try to get that done. No, because that client doesn't have any time to wait. When someone is diagnosed with acidosis, burning cells, what medical doctors would call cancer, you're in trouble. And the only way you're going to get truly out of trouble is get rid of the acids that's burning back your cells. Remember, acidosis outside of the cell is inflammation. Inside the cell, that's when you start mutating the DNAs and the mitochondria and the organs of the cells. So you have to reverse that if you want true wellness. Or you're just going to throw crap in there, whether it's steroids or anti-inflammatories or supplements and everything else to try to stop the raging fire, which only sometimes holds back but never stops. Detoxification is the only thing in life that cures. The only thing. So when people say you can't detox, like this one medical doctor that's a head of complementary medicine, what side of the force is he channeling? Because nature detoxes. You put high proteins and lipids in your body, you're going to be detoxing them out. You put mercury from vaccines and toxic chemicals in your body, you breathe toxic chemicals. People use makeups and body lotions that are toxic. And you think your body's getting rid of all these toxins? The liver's getting rid of them? Where does the liver get rid of them? They can try to convert them to something else, transmutate them into something else. But as a rule, they're stuck in your lymph system. Look at your eyes, and you'll see those that have real bad lymph systems, you'll see drug deposits hanging all over the place, particularly iodine and particularly sulfur. They're stuck in tissue. Copper gets stuck in kidney tissue. You get these elements stuck. How do you get them out? So you just have to understand detoxification is your golden key to Wellville, no matter what anybody thinks. And you guys, most of you know this by now. Can you please give your opinion on this, as I have heard you say only take them for a few months and get off of them. And not because they atrophy the glands. I think I see an energetic go the other way, though. Like for an example, if you take too much parathyroid, I think I see the parathyroid kind of kick them back. It's like an energetic. Too much energy, you start to lose energy. It's amazing. I mean, if you do it synthetically like that. I think I told you I was on an electric machine once that built my nervous system up, but then it peaked and then it went down the other way. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing, right? And you might say that at long-term use. I've never seen that, and I've seen some people on glandulars for a lot of years, from chiropractors and stuff. Not my focus, but I do like them when it comes to serious conditions where your adrenals are just shot and maybe your pituitary's down. But like for pituitary, an example, I only use one bottle in the pituitary because you overstimulate the pituitary real easily. So I only use one bottle, and I'll use one and one capsule in the morning and one in the evening. Parathyroid, I like to use 2 bottles, and then see what, I have to use it with a Bones formula. And this would be good for pregnant ladies and stuff like that. Or you could take the parathyroid with the superfood blend, where you got plenty of calcium. But you got to stop and always remember, am I digesting properly? Am I absorbing properly? That's a lymphatic issue. Am I utilizing? That's a hormone and steroid issue. And am I eliminating properly? That's going to be stooling for digestive waste, kidneys and skin for cellular waste. Or it's going to ooze out your eyes, nose, mouth, vaginal, belly button, under your arms. When taking a parathyroid glandular, how many milligrams of calcium would you recommend? No. No, because you don't want to take calcium in and of itself, by itself. You want the whole family with it. You want the twin sister magnesium, the little brother phosphorus. You want the whole family. So if you want to take anything, supplement kelp then, or the superfood blend, which has kelp and other things in it. You want the superfoods that are high in calcium, not calcium isolate, because that'll just push your magnesium and phosphorus and start kicking out all your cousins. You can't play with these ratios and not affect everybody. Can't do it. Everybody's related in chemistry. So don't advise calcium supplementation at all. I had a nurse come in here one day. She was a nurse anesthetist. And her anesthesiologist boss told her that she had arthritis and told her she should take calcium for it. Well, she did. Well, she come walking in my office like she'd been on a horse for about 3 years and not got off. Her legs were so bow-legged it wasn't even funny. And I said, let me guess. Arthritis and someone told you to take calcium for it? She said, well, how'd you know? I said, because I see that all the time. You get hardening of the joints, you get calcium. In other words, calcium became a free radical. 1, because she had a parathyroid weakness, and 2, because she supplemented isolate of it. Don't want to do that. When do you expect to have level 2 on DVD for international students? Oh, thanks, sweetheart. Oh, saber hugs from Australia. Yeah, baby. You guys are incredible. And again, thank you, Margot. Anna, sooner or later, I hope. I'm anxious to see how that turned out. I thought we had a good time. Still didn't get enough case studies in there, and I'm going to have to revamp some things because we need more case studies so you guys can have more fun looking at case studies, because that's what it's all about. Bottom line to that. It's like a New York detective told me one time when I asked him about all the deaths he's seen, you know, and he says, well, you know, when you have so many years of seeing all these things, it's just, we just wonder how they do the next one, you know, how'd they kill that one, how'd they kill that one, you know, that's about the same, you know. Now, this is from no name here, I don't think here. Oh, yeah, it is. My name is Francesca. I'm 37 years young. About 3 years ago, I've been diagnosed with spinocellular Bellar ataxia type 2. Wow, never heard of that. Please, I need your help. I'm willing to do anything necessary to help my body heal itself. Well, let me see what you're dealing with, sweetheart. I never heard of that. Spinocellular Bellar. I never heard of that. Have to see what that is. And a funny long name to it, too. Let me look it up and see what that is and what's going on there. Matter of fact, hey, Jen. Never mind. Oh, sweetheart, I'll do that for you. And I'll come back and readdress this tomorrow for you. All right? That'll be on another video here. But I certainly will address it. Yeah, would you look up this and tell me what it is? Because I've never heard of that before. And let me know so I can help her out here.
No problem.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You're welcome.
All right. Here's it. Hello, Dr. Morse. I hope you're doing well. I am. Thank you so much. Trying. I'm detoxing just like you guys. You know, I have a quick question. Do you know what small black spots on the skin are, sometimes referred to as beauty spots? Black? Generally black as moles. You know, the fungal family, moles get real black on the skin. But outside of that, I don't know what a black dot could be other than a microbe of some sort. I don't know. Have you had any success in getting rid of these? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Little moles, the red skin tags the same way. Generally, I don't like to see the little red skin tags, you know. But all those fall off if you stay on Parasite M long enough and keep detoxifying the body. You'll especially see people with a lot of these on them when they have adrenal weaknesses. You got your liver spots, and then I think the little white fungal spots on people. But all those come away when you make the body healthy. But when it gets into the black mole spots, if that indeed that's what we're, you know, talking about, that's always an adrenal gland problem. And some people that have sugar metabolism problems, they grow these black moles all over them. But if it's just a black spot, I've never seen a black spot in and of itself that was not a mold. You know, we see, like I said, the liver spots, the fungal white spots, stuff like that. Skin pigmentation changes, but even in a skin pigmentation change, I don't know, because it is said that we all came from a black woman. Well, if that's true, then the changes in the pituitary happened as man migrated to different environments. The colder environments, you lost your black pigmentation to deal with the sun, and you became more white. And perhaps it has something to do with the pituitary. It's possible, I suppose, because you have the Michael Jackson effect, which is all pituitary, if indeed that, you know. So when you have vitiligo, you see that, again, back to the pituitary. So take a look at all that. Look at your case. Look and see if you have a pituitary weakness. See if those are not moles. I don't know, do you ever have a medical doctor look at them, a dermatologist, and see what they say? I would also like to point out a few videos ago, someone brought up that the body replaces itself every 7 years, and you said, I said it didn't, but I was reading on the Stanford University website that the body does here in this link to the article. Can you please give me your thoughts on? Oh, look at that up. You know, it's said that that's true, and I didn't say that it's not true, but if you understand how you can keep cells alive indefinitely. They don't regenerate themselves. They don't have to regenerate themselves in terms of duplicating themselves, because they're being fed adequately to regenerate themselves. So they don't have to replicate themselves. And you wonder sometimes if replication isn't of areas that are damaged or weak, who knows. But it's enough to say if your cells replicate themselves every 7 years, there wouldn't be deterioration of tissue. Now, you can argue the fact that they replicate off the weaknesses of the one before it, and you could argue that. And I would say it's a good argument because that's how you get genetic weaknesses. And that would be the only way that you could see that. But when you see these advanced states, there's no way they're regenerating healthy cells every 7 years. That's insane. You could regenerate definitely off your cell before it, which is if you have a mutated cell, you're regenerating off the mutated cell. That's how, again, how genetics are. So yeah, that would be. But you're not going to regenerate healthy cells every 7 years. That doesn't happen. There would be no such thing as diseases or no such thing as anything that we're dealing with here. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I'm not in research, but when we see tissue that people have been involved for 10, 20 years that hadn't regenerated, I don't know what to say. Again, cells regenerate off the previous cells, so stem cells and the like, so the mutation, and you have damaged cells, you can replicate the damage. That, again, is what you see in genetics. But and that might be true, that every 7 years you regenerate, but you're regenerating weaker cells, possible. But there has to be some control of that by the Supreme One, because it wouldn't take long to die from that. It wouldn't take long to die from that. Replicating weak cells on top of weak cells on top of weak cells. So you have to think that out, you know. I mean, I realize Stanford, but Stanford has some interesting connotations to them. I have nothing bad to say about them, but I don't trust universities anymore. Medical doctors get trained in universities, and look at what they're being taught. So I don't know what to say about that. I'm keeping myself neutral on that one, because I've been told that before. And you learn that in A&P, and it's like, I don't know. A lot of things you're taught now isn't true. I don't care what university claims. So I don't know, I don't know. Observe tissue growth outside of or in vitro, some things like that are different. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. But if you find out more, let me know. I will look that up and read it. But, think about that, though, in that way. University, okay. But I'll definitely look into that and see, but I still have that same feeling. You have to understand that when you see degeneration of tissue, that isn't an overnight syndrome. You can't degenerate tissue. Well, you could in 7 years. With extreme acidosis, and of course with chemotherapy, it only takes a few months to degenerate tissue, because you're just slamming it with an extreme acid. I'm hoping that when judges and juries realize what chemo really is, there's going to be some serious consequences. So Martin, hi Dr. Morse, I imagine you are inundated with emails. A little bit. I wish I could be more precise in some of them, but I'm just one guy, coming along here, trying to bring out truth as I've discovered it, and as our clients through the years have regenerated themselves and what we've seen. So some of the things that come through here, you just don't know, like the 7-year regeneration of cells. Because I still go back to the French physicists that kept the chicken's heart alive without regeneration of cells for 20 years. Found it quite interesting. But I'd have to look at that more. Maybe cells were replicating themselves, blah, 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 blah. But you'd replicate the whole 9 yards then. You could replicate the whole chicken. But there are some cool things out there. I heard they got a powder that they can just put on a limb that's been cut, and it'll regrow. I don't know if that's true even, but that's pretty good. Remember, we've had stem cell researchers in here that claimed that half the stuff wasn't true and nothing was going on. So you just don't know what truth really is. I only can put my eggs in the basket where truth is, and this is what I see and how people get well and what I have to do to get them well. I've tried everything under the sun except urine therapy, stool implantations, crap like that, which I'll never do. So, you know, I'm a pastor. God man, almost totally debilitated. What? Lyme, oh yeah, yeah. Co-infections, depression, mold, who knows what else. I have begun to listen to your videos. I am lost in anguish by the second. I can barely function. Deep brain misery, hissing in my ears, terrible, zoned out like a zombie. I guess I am reaching out in desperation. Well, Martin, glad to help another God man. Okay, buddy, get you on 100% raw right now. 100% raw. I don't care if it's greens, salads. Do add at least 50% fruits, berries, and melons, at least 50% or more, and take off on this. Huh? Well, that's okay, sweetheart.
It's from...
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Do you need anything?
No,
Okay.
I'm doing good.
All right.
Thanks, sweetie. Thank you much. That's Elizabeth. That's our, she is Jen B's personal assistant. She answers the phones right now, but we hired her because she has experience in natural health and incredibly sweet, nice lady. But Martin, listen, I'm glad to help you. Try to call in here to Jen B and get your first.
I never gave you
No, that's
feedback.
okay.
I apologize.
That's okay. I didn't really need it, but that's okay. Thank you, honey. Reach out to Jen B and get on that first kit. Get on that first kit. Do you start deworming yourself, go after the fungus in you, and start opening up your kidneys and moving your lymph? Because anybody, remember, with Lyme's is heavy, heavy lymphatic duct. And this is just extreme acidosis, high fungal. You're probably hitting it right on the head all the way down through here, man. So you got to do the Jesus thing. Start detoxifying yourself. You know, start cleaning yourself out. You know, that's what they did. When you go back and you really study some of what they found in the Dead Sea Scrolls and the scenes, you'll find that these guys were fasters. Remember the 40-day fast? That's what they're doing down in Costa Rica, the 43-day fast and stuff. But people need to be healthier before they go into these longer fasts. But all the spiritual people come to this realization always that you must change your diet, fasting, detoxification. That's been universal since I don't know how long. Those that don't wake up, of course, generally continue to follow the mind pathways, but those that are beginning to wake up, we dub spiritualized because they're waking up. Doesn't matter their belief systems. Born-agains are waking up because they let go. They let go. They had such a hard time, they just gave it all over to God. And that's the little secret. Is when you let go of creating your own stuff and realize it's already created. You just sit back and let it, watch the show. Watch the show. So, my friend, you got to get on those herbs and start getting the kidneys, getting the bowels cleaned up, start opening yourself up and clean all this out of you. Now, depression, parathyroid. So, get a hold of Jen B here, my friend, and have her touch base and get me your information and all this stuff, and at least try to afford the first kit. Let me know where you are on that, and let's see what we can get you fixed up. But you can get rid of all that stuff, and get yourself back to Wellville, and you'll want to do it now, because if you're feeling all kinds of things going on up here, don't let that go on too long, my friend. Not good. All right, so give us a call here, Martin, and see if we can't get you fixed up quick. I don't have any way to contact you, or I'd have them contact you. But I have no way to call you, or I'd call you up myself. All right, sweetheart, let's go back here. It's got a neuropathy tied to it. It's a neurodegenerative disorder that is inherited by an recessive pattern. Scan 1 is characterized by late childhood onset of a slow progressive cerebral ataxia, followed by signs of peripheral neuropathy, Gauss, whatever that is, and cerebellar ataxia, usually developed after the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, so you've got nerve degeneration. All right. what causes in the human body any degeneration, sweetheart. Now, you got to realize we're all living and swimming and breathing in total chemistry. Picture yourself diving in the ocean, in the water, and you're all surrounded with water. You are constantly surrounded in chemistry. There's no voids around you. So chemistry moves in and out of you and breathes like you breathe. If it's harmonious, you do well. If it's more acidic, you don't do so well. Things aren't more alkaline per se in life. They're more acid in life. And the reason is because of what man is discharging in the air from car exhaust, from manufacturing. These aren't alkalis. These are acids, sulfurs, carbon dioxides, all of these carbon acids, phosphorus acids. You're seeing phosphorus is already acidic. So you're seeing all these acids released in the ground and in the atmosphere, all these nitrogen-rich fertilizers dumped into the oceans. We have red tide out here because we've unbalanced the water's chemistry by putting our chemistry in. Not nature's chemistry, man's chemistry. Man has screwed all this up by thinking he can do better than nature by using chemistry. And so you see these slick little commercials, how chemistry's changed the world. Well, it can be weighed to how good versus how bad when you look at the amount of deaths occurred through chemistry. Not a good picture. I think you're going to find millions of people each year die by allopathic measures. We already know it's over 1 million in the United States alone. And that's all from the use of pharmaceuticals. So, I mean, this is chemistry, but not at its finest. This is chemistry through the mind, not chemistry through consciousness. So, you live in a world of chemistry. So what side of chemistry breaks you down? You're exactly right, the acid side. This is generally cellular waste, and generally speaking, sweetheart, you're 37, kidney and adrenals, get on that lymph system. But if you want to build, and I was addressing this earlier when addressing ladies with babies, you can only rebuild your nervous system with fruits and berries. So use a diet high in fruits and berries and maybe a salad a day to get yourself started, but you've got to get up in the head area and start draining it, because your body doesn't break down for no reason. Even when you say you have a genetic weakness, the acid side of chemistry is what brought you to that weakness. And it's always your lymph system that's inspiring the breakdown of your neurological system. Your neurological system, neurons just don't break down for no reason. What would make things break down? Genetic weaknesses are already applied. So what breaks you down even more? Excuse me, please, sorry. Acids. And you've got to get into your lymph system. No difference no matter what you're diagnosed from the allopathic community. Neuropathies, all of this is just acidosis and the loss of that. You'll see that with the use of chemotherapy. You'll see that in the use when you start losing your filtration of your lymph. You'll see your neuropathies in your feet all around. The more acidic you are, you're going to lose all tissue. So, could you be compromised already in that tissue? But of course you know you are. When you're down in the adrenals, you're down in which one? The autonomic. And where are you down at? The cerebellum. Just in the areas they're talking about. And of course, when you're backed up here with lots of mucus and congestion in the head, that's acid. And then the cell acids from the cells in the brain can't get out anymore. Even with the new lymphatic system that they've discovered, the brain still has a hard time getting rid of these acids from the cells. That's why you see brain cancers. That's why you see, the tumors and everything else all on the face and head and palate and everything else. So don't let them disempower you either. See what we've done neurologically on this site. You can rebuild your nervous system. So you have to address what breaks tissue down, no matter what tissue it is. And that's your lymph system, not your blood system. You're changing your blood chemistry by immediately going on a raw food diet. And I'm not here to tell you, sweetheart, it's just my experience. And I'm very experienced when it comes to neurological cases and repairing them. And that is, you're going to be getting to a level of only fruits, berries, and melons. No vegetables. But for now, you can hit that, but prepare yourself for at least 6 months or more on fruits, berries, and melons. And you'll stop this, and you'll end the nightmare, and you'll rebuild yourself. And hope you have babies that don't have, got genes from others. Or start working on your baby's nervous systems. And how do you work on your baby's nervous system? And this is your mamas that are having little infants. Vegetables are not brain. Look at which animal's the smartest and what their body's designed to eat. Fruits and berries have the highest nutrition. Get this, if we're not talking about chemistry anymore, let's just talk about magnetics. Let's talk about physics. Let's talk about energy. It is well established that the fruit and the berries have the highest electromagnetic energy on this planet, food-based. So why would you not want to consume them since they fit our anatomy and physiology perfectly? They have the highest chemistry of all the fruits, of all the foods. They have the highest electromagnetic energy of all the foods. They're the only food that really regenerates neurons. You get to see where I'm going with all this? So don't buy into some of these things. Go after the health of your body, and that's all you need to do. Because if you buy into some of these things, like genes that are not there anymore, but when you're losing your neurological system, this is serious. Very, very serious. And I take this extremely seriously, sweetheart. So, get yourself 100% raw to start, and then move on up to fruits and berries. At the same time, you might want one of us to help you here and work with you. Get a picture of your eyes, and that has helped you at least halfway down the road there, so you get a good firm grip of what you're up against. I'd love to see your eyes, by the way. Hey, can you please help me on how I could remove bad breath that causes my mucus that won't go away? Good question. That's another good question. When you're impacted in the bowels, it gives you that death breath. And I smell it on a lot of my clients that come in here. I know the meat eaters. You can, when you're not a meat eater and you're a raw foodist, you notice you can smell people. It was funny, I won't even go there, but David Wolf did something with Howard Stern once. It wasn't even funny. The smell test. But it's enough to say that you can smell putrefaction. And that's that bad odor. And your tonsils can be full. You ever get those tonsil stones that stink like nasty? These are the stuff in the lymph nodes. Where's the stuff coming from? Cells. Cell waste, toxemia, you can call it whatever you want. Acids, toxemia. But you want to detox your gut. You want to clean your bowels out. Big time. And all that. Start going to your raw foods, your sweet fruits. You want to start smelling like what you're eating, but you have to clean out that which is making you stink. And generally, if you can smell your breath or your underarms or your body, it's because you're consuming proteins. Oh, well, wait a minute. Aren't we supposed to have proteins? They make you stink. They claim, I don't know how they claim things like this, but there's a claim that animals consider the human as real stinkers. So I don't know. I don't know how you could ever claim stuff like that. You hear all kinds of stuff like that. But you want to do that. You really want to detox your GI tract, because that's where this is coming. And decay and atrophy stinks. Everybody ever smell tumors? You pull out a tumor, you ever smell it? It's a real necrotic, real bad smell. And so, all that mucus, of course, is from the mucosa, and that's probably from the dairy products. And that mucus can get pretty gnarly too when it gets the green and the brown and the black. Ugh, black's nasty stuff. But you want to detox yourself, my friend, and get all this stuff out of you. Clean up your gut, get your kidneys filtering, get everything drained, and I'll drain your sinuses, and you'll be good to go. And you'll start smelling like fruits and berries and melons and salads. But if you stink, you get your body detoxed. Big time. Oh, this is ripe apple. I like the name. I like the name. If I just eat fruits, melons, and berries for 1 year and herbs, occasionally some salad, will I die? That's a question? Well, you would probably be dead with about 150,000 other people that I've put on raw foods. Of course, only a few that were so advanced that no one could save them. They sent them to us. Didn't make it, but I don't know. I just wonder how long can one just eat fruit. Plenty of fruitarians. Like I said, I've seen some islanders come in here that were raised at least the first 20 years of their lives exclusively on fruit. But I will have to tell you that when you go from an omnivorous diet like humans are on to a total fruit diet, it's a rough way to go. You have a lot of generations behind you of all this nasty food, so it's tough. And I don't really recommend it, only in detoxifying. How interesting that we have to go that high to get ourselves well and then step back because it's too strong for us. Funny stuff. I have some homegrown fruit. Oh, wow. But through the winter, it's just from the store. I know it. I know how it is, man. Please comment if you really know how it is to eat just fruit. I was a fruitarian for a little over 3 years. But I couldn't handle it anymore. It's too much energy. Remember, fruit has the highest energy on the planet. I just couldn't handle it anymore. That wasn't mature spiritually. And I suppose if you looked at it from the spiritual people, you'd have to say that it's so much energy, it can bring a state of imbalance if you don't have control of your consciousness well. And at 20 years old, I didn't have control of my consciousness well. I mean, you know, what do we know? We live from the mind until we wake up. So I don't know what to tell you on that. But the comment, will I die? The problem is the reverse is true. And this is Martin. Martin, I hope this is the same Martin. Me again, I am in need of a lot of help. Martin, I hope you've got me a way to get a hold of you here, son. I have gone for magnetic therapy but feel like absolute hell. I am so sick, I don't know how I will ever get better. You will. I am in anguish every second. Oh, you poor guy. Holy crap. I live with a dear 70-year-old friend who is doing her best. I am in survival mode. Well, how do I get a hold of you? You know what? I got your email here, I think. Let me... Hey, Jenny? Hey, Megan, is Jen in today, Jen B?
Oh, do you need something?
Yeah.
Want me to come in?
Would you?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Here's another one. Please answer again. Okay. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi.
This guy's in real bad trouble. He's a preacher man in real bad trouble, and I haven't been, he's had a couple of things to me. I have no way to get home except his, I think it's from the email here.
Okay.
So would you tell him he needs to get a hold of Jen B or you and get at least get on the first kit
Okay.
and get on a raw food diet ASAP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, this is Leah. Hello, could you tell me what would be good cocktail for my husband? Well, do you love him or not? I mean, there's cocktails and there's cocktails. I mean, we've got some good cocktails for husbands that are not in line with what the woman wants them to be. Basically, the doctor said there is nothing more they can do, and my husband is very weak and cannot go through any more chemo or radiation. He's in the hospital as we speak and lost 18 pounds over the stay in the hospital. We are believers in Christ. Okay, sweetheart, if you're the believers in Christ, you go 100% raw, sweetheart. and I mean 100% raw. If you really get into Jesus' teachings and you get into the ones that you haven't been introduced, like the other 23 Gospels, okay, start reading them and start studying who Jesus really belonged to, the agnostics. And don't be afraid of that, because that's just what we talk about here. Jesus was a raw foodist. Jesus, I mean, why wouldn't he be? Any God-man is going to go to the raw, is going to go to health. Any God-man is going to expand his awareness and do out-of-body travels and journey to his home. You know, so you have to understand, you must go 100%. Your husband must go 100%. If he's been on chemo and radiation, he's just sitting there and said, go ahead and kill me. And he did it out of fear, because we can't use that as trust anymore. So he's pretty much, and here's just another case where chemo didn't save the person. So, no question, I don't know what kind of what diagnosis your husband's been in, but from our viewpoint, this man has a heavy lymphatic problem where his own cell wastes are burning back on the cell, internally in the cell. 100% raw. ASAP, move up toward a grape fast, a dark grape fast, the black or the reds. And I would do a 20 to 30 day to start. If you want to add some other things in there, fine. But when you're advanced like this, you don't have time to sit there and dilly-dally and wonder what the next day. You go 100% raw. Get a hold of that dietitian, grab him by the ear, and tell him this is what you want him to eat. And if you don't want to supply it, I'll supply it. Or get him out of the hospital before they kill him. Remember Consumer Reports, how to protect yourself from your hospital stay. 500,000 people each year in America do not leave the hospital. How frightening is that? So you're in a tough situation, sweetheart, but you got to get your man. That cocktail is going to be all raw. Herbal cocktail, get him on the first kit ASAP. Start opening up the kidneys, moving the lymph, start killing parasites, start opening up pathways of elimination. If his bowels are backed up, get him moving. With chemo, it's possible to go the other way. So you've got to put the pedal to the metal on this one. I don't know how to get a hold of you either. It's enough to say you won't get this till next week. Now let me reiterate. If you have a serious case like this, you call the clinic. Forget going through the YouTube here, guys. It takes me too long to get to you. And you got a husband that's in deep trouble. What date is on this one? November 23rd. You can't wait. You can't wait when you're this level. You can't wait. You got to call the clinic. Don't be embarrassed to call the clinic. We're all loving people here. We'd be glad to help you. Or get on the Facebook, or we're all moving to moveyourlymph.com. It's a much more manageable site. You'll be able to put more converse and testimonials and things on that site. More privacy to where the FDA won't come in on you. This is Haley. Is it okay to go raw without affecting or losing your milk supply? That's a good question. I would think you wouldn't lose your milk supply. You know, I know a lot of females that have been, you know, not raw, that went raw, that never lost their milk supply. But, geez, everything is so different. I wouldn't guarantee anything. But I would hope you wouldn't. I would hope you would enrich it. But, I don't know. I notice that whatever you consume, the baby seems to get it. That makes sense anyway. So, go raw, and your baby will be stronger, less colicky and mucousy, you know, things like that. And strong. You won't see fatty babies, fatty legs on the babies. That's from high protein, high fat. You get your fatty little babies. No, you want solid babies. You want solid. You don't want flabby. And fats and proteins create flabby. I mean, you can get, we'll talk about the protein and flabby later. So, you know, try that and see. I wouldn't think you'd lose your milk supply. I think you would make it rich. But any of you females out there that have had experience with that, definitely talk in on that. This is from Simon. Simon, Good day, Dr. Morse. Is it true that you broke your 6-month orange fast with a piece of fish? No, but it was close to that. I think I'd come down a little bit with some salads or some greens. It's been so many years ago. But within that small interim, though, I did. I met a woman, and I went up to Ohio with her and some friends. And I mean, it was freezing in the dead of winter. And when you're a raw foodist, you know why you're a tropical person. So cold is something I don't like anyway, period. And so I was freezing, middle of the night. We're all hungry. We've been on an airplane. There was this little thing in the airport, a little fast food joint. I'm looking there and going, what the hell? Nothing. And I'm weighing which is better than which. You know, people ask me, which is better, grains or fish? It's like, well, God, I don't know. So I'm thinking vibration, I'm thinking toxicity, I'm thinking all these things. So I got a piece of grilled fish, and I just had a couple of bites. Well, I woke up that night with extreme pain, and all I could think of was McFadden died from supposedly from breaking his fast on boiled potatoes. Well, you know, boiled potatoes, starch, yeast, glue, lock. So all I could say, I just killed myself. Found out it was a kidney stone. And so what that showed me is that fish was so bad for me that it spasmed my kidneys, and it spasmed a stone out. And then that's when I realized I had kidneys full of stones from all the dairy products all my life. And it's like, oh, God. So I've learned the hard way too, guys. So there's just some things you don't do and some things you do. You know, and I've had some hard knocks in my life. I haven't been perfect either. But that's how I can talk from experience. You know, if I had been a raw foodist all these years, I wouldn't have been a good healer. I'll tell you that. You wouldn't have been able to tolerate me. I'd have been more like the 80-10-10 guy. You know, way over the top. And you just can't do that. You can't do that. You have to understand balance and where people are and how you work them into Wellville without losing them in terms of going away doing other radical things. So yeah, I got my little butt kicked. Dear Sir or Madam, I am writing to you because my mom has a breast cancer. A year ago, she found a lump in her breast. Over 6 months ago, she took 0.5 milliliters active silicone, and after a few weeks, silicone began to dispose of the tumor on the outside in the form of leaking growths. Wow. Silicone, huh? That's scary, but interesting effect. Huh. These tumors grew very large and stank. Yeah, they do stink. And ate my mom's breast off. Yeah, not good. Well, I don't know on YouTube forums whether I can show you some pictures, but I do have some pretty intense pictures here of that very thing. And this is a sad thing. You get too much of that external popping with the tumors all over. And I think I showed you this one picture here yesterday. And these are just not good pictures. You know, when you get yourself in this level of trouble, it's just frightening for everybody involved, you know, and I just feel so sorry. But the thing is, you got to understand the lymphatic system always, no matter what cancer you have or what you've been diagnosed with in terms of diseases. Set those home, give them back to the medical doctor, and realize what's really going on inside your body. Realize it's a fluid problem initially. And the fluid that deals with the acid side of chemistry in the body, of course, is the lymphatic system. Also realize that the only reason that you have a tumor or a cyst is obstructions. You have an obstruction to the flow of this fluid. Then your second thing is now where is the obstruction to the flow of lymph? Why would my lymph nodes swell and then the tissue on the other side break down? Well, understand that the tissue, your cells, eliminate waste, just like babies and everybody else. Cells eliminate waste from the manufacturing process. Call it metabolism, call it respiration, I don't care. So you have waste being produced that has to be eliminated. All good research medical doctors understand this. They might understand the role of the kidneys or anything else, but they do understand the need to get rid of waste, which some medical doctors that put themselves up as professors seem not to. So you have to understand that when you see an expression like a tumor, you have an obstruction. Well, tumors are of the lymph system, so you have an obstruction of the lymph system. Where might that be? Well, first start with the eliminative organs to that structure, and that's going to be the kidneys and skin. If your thyroid's down, you're not going to have the temperature to sweat, so your skin's going to go down. When the kidneys lose filtration, generally the adrenals go down, lower neurotransmitters go down, dopamines and the like, and your kidneys go down. When you lose filtration of the kidneys, your urine is clear. Pee in a jar. If your urine is clear, you're in trouble. That means that your sewer system is obstructed. Well, the kidneys are the main obstructors, to tell you the truth. Then the lymph nodes become hard and they become obstructive. And then, of course, that backs right up to the cell again. So you have to reverse that process to get cancer out of a breast. Well, let's throw that cancer word away, because cancer is a foul word meaning nothing. Cells are being damaged by their own acids that they produce through metabolism and respiration. Get rid of those acids. You can only sweat them out or pee them out. You can cough them out too and blow them out, I guess. But systemically speaking, you've got to pee them out or sweat them out. And that's what you want to do. Everything aggressive toward proper kidney filtration and elimination and sweating. Essential. So 100% raw, and when your mother's in this much trouble where these acids just chewed the whole breast off, you want to get the burn salve, start putting the burn salve on this, and you've got to fix why she has the problem. You got to go to the kidneys, until the kidneys can start filtering. It'll break open the lymph nodes under the arm. If her lymph nodes under the arm are hard as a rock, which they probably are going to be with what you're talking about, you're going to have to use some oils to help loosen this up. Laetrile B17 is one. Hemp oil, castor oil, olive oil, grapeseed oil. Any of those helpful. But you've got to get your mom filtering, or there's nothing. I don't care what you do. I wonder who told her to take the silicone, and look what happened. Not good. Mom had removed growths and completely lost her breast. After about a month, these growths began to go back again. And the reason is you haven't fixed why she had it in the first place. Make sense? You've got to fix the elimination of cellular waste. And the kidneys are your focus, and your skin, which is dubbed the third kidney of the body. Mom had another surgery to remove it, but it was not possible to delete everything because she could lose her hand. These growths came out all the time. We do not know how to stop it or dry it. You can only do that by getting your kidneys to filter. You have to open up your obstruction, or she can grow hundreds of these things. I'm looking for help everywhere, how to help my mom. I believe that there is someone or something that can help my mother. I joined the photo. I will be very grateful if you know any way how to stop it. Please do not ignore that message. My mom really needs help. I'm not going to ignore this. I don't ignore things like this. 100% raw in a few weeks or a few days. Do a grape fast. Drop her a 40-day grape fast. Dark grapes. If you want lemons, add lemons to that mix. Going to be a strong one, jumping right in. But if you want to stop this, you got to get the kidneys to filter. I'd pound kidney herbs and maybe one lymphatic herb. And definitely go after the adrenals. You got to. And that's the only way. Get the burn salve. We have a burn salve. That'll help to heal some of this. But again, this is just acids trying to find a way out. And it'll chew up your whole body. respect acids. I certainly do. And call and get on the kits. Get on the detox kits. Get on the 14-week protocol. Get on. That's designed for people with this level of problems. And get honking. Because that's the only way you're going to, my opinion, of course, is pull her out of this level. It's the only way you can pull out of any level, really. But that's what I'm saying, guys. You get a serious case like this, forget the YouTube, call right into the clinic. Because we don't have a week or two to mess around. I don't even like a few days. And this one, there's no time on this one. In fact, there's nothing on this one. All right, I think I'm going to end it there. We've got so much more to go over. Holy crap, I really do. There's so many beautiful things there. Nevada Grown, what's this one? This is Deity? Huh, a realtor, huh? My name is D-E-I-D. Deity? I pronounce Deity. Daedry. Oh, there we go, Daedry. Thanks, Daedry. Never did do well in spelling. Midwestern, country boy. Didn't always love English well. I want to thank you for all that you do. You are a blessing. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. Thank you, honey. What you got in your hand there? Some green drink? Something. And Nevada Grown. Or is that Nevada? Can't hardly read it. Excuse me. I was too painful now, a yoga teacher. Oh. A single mom, and was just diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis 3 months ago. That sucks. RA. I was talking to another lad that called in with RA, and I need a picture of his eyes, of course. But I've just never seen an RA case that didn't have a lot of sulfur involved. So check your eyes, sweetheart. See if you have a lot of sulfur involved. Just a thing, you know. That is when my whole world shut down. I am trying to cure myself naturally. I have to cook for the girls who do not like my raw vegan diet. Too bad, because you need it. And it's time for mom to get well. So I would go deeper than a raw vegan diet. I would go into fasting on grapes. You could add apples if you wanted, add a couple other fruits, but get yourself up there and start detox. Get your kidneys opened up, sweetheart, and your adrenals up. That'll give you a little more steroids for anti-inflammatory purposes, and your body won't pull so much calcium and cholesterol things and stuff like that to fight all this acidosis. So get your adrenals up, get your kidneys filtering. Essential to get through this. We have tons and tons of RA, sweetheart. Very curable. And not as a disease. As a disease, nothing's curable. Let me put that out there. But having systemic acidosis, you can get rid of all of that, sweetheart. And you want to do it and get back to being a yoga teacher. All right? I try to get them to watch your vids with me. You are terribly inspiring. I hope so. But you've got to get out of this trouble. You're a pretty thing, and you just don't want to deal with this kind of pain and arthritis and stuff like that when you simply get your kidneys filtering. You get this. It's a lymph system that's doing it, not your blood. It's your lymph system, of course. But generally when I see RA, I do see the sulfur. And remember, sulfur is a little bit of a super glue, so you get the GI broom. You might get a little gassy, bloaty as you're going through this detox. You also want to get on top of the fungus because you're going to have a lot of fungal problems with this. So you want to go after the fungus with like the parasitic formulas, you know, and really get your body cleaned out. You video that incorporate the entire mind, body, and spirit are exactly what the world needs right now. I hope so, because that's the only way I can do them. Because it is body, mind, and spirit. Body, mind, and soul, however you wish to look at it. And it is. We are integrated beings. We are spiritual beings having human experiences. The human body is very simple, basic, easy to get well, clean it up, fine, fine, fine. We suffer so much because we're bought into these treatment-based concepts of diseases and things like this. And that can get us a lot more in trouble. A lot more in trouble, particularly in the use of antibiotics and stuff. You want more bacteria, not less. That's why you see the natural health field more involved with probiotics as opposed to antibiotics. But I appreciate your thought on that, because isn't it fun? I mean, it's fun to get out of the mind and soar. Soar with your imagination? I don't care, but that's another way of creating. Be careful. And what body would you be using when you're using your imagination? Question of the week. I'm wondering about some of the alternative therapies out there. What do you think of colonic irrigation? Well, if you never had one, belly up and have one or two. Don't do too many innervating too much. Let herbs clean the gut, because it's only a colon thing anyway, and your small bowel is more important in the sense that that's where absorption is. And with RA, lupus, Lyme's, all those sort of things, fibromyalgia, your lymph system's backed up even in the bowel wall. And so that does lead for some malabsorption and things. So you got to open all this up, sweetheart. Alkaline water, no and coffee enemas, forget all those things. No way, you get yourself in trouble. Get yourself on a simple, high grape, dark grape fast, and really start pulling things out of you really quick. Get the kidney going, the herbs with the kidneys, get your kidneys filtered, and get your adrenals up. Like I say, you're always going to find in all these cases where you have systemic acidosis, you're always going to find the adrenals down, you're always going to find the kidneys not filtering, each and every single case. Now with RA though, I happen to see a lot of fungus. Like I've said, I only have one RA case that does not have sulfur and high fungus. Only one. And I'm not sure. He was wondering whether he was misdiagnosed too. So I don't know. After reading about the side effects of the low-dose chemo, honey, now don't let me come to Nevada and find you. You do that, and you're out. You're going to take yourself in a world far, far away. You don't want to do methotrexate or prednisone. Oh my friggin' God! You'll lose your adrenals. You just can't imagine where that's going to take you. And that's what they do. Matter of fact, for you guys that don't know this, they use chemotherapy for RA. Matter of fact, they use chemotherapy now for a lot of things. Ballsy and brazen. These guys don't stop. But they will. They will. Time's coming. These guys are out of control. Oncologists are out of friggin' control. And I've told you this before, whenever I meet a female oncologist, cold as ice. I never see females cold. When females get cold, the world is gone. Because that's the only warmth we have is you guys females. That's how us males understand love. Compassion is from either our female side or you females. You don't do any of these things. I decided to get off of it. You were on it? Sweetheart, no, 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 no. Now I am in more pain than ever. Of course you will be. And that's the other problem with starting these things, is they're going to take your pain to hellville. And the prednisone is going to hold you back until you explode. These guys are nuts. If you want anti-inflammatory or antacid power, go raw, go alkaline. But not too alkaline, because then, I'll tell you one thing that might help you. Baking soda, aluminum-free baking soda, fast-track alkalizer, teaspoon, something like that in a cup of water. Start sipping it through the day. That's helpful. Go on a totally alkaline diet. That's helpful. I'd stay away from the citruses and the acid fruits. That could cause a little more pain when you already are in pain. So I'd stay away from that for sure. You keep yourself on the right track, sweetheart, and I'm going to say to you too, you keep yourself on the right track. Don't buy into this stuff. Oh, look at all this stuff. This is one of my rare good days. I am loving growing my own microgreens now. Kick it up with the fruits and the berries too, subacid and sweet. And you'll clean all this out of you. Get on the herbs for your kidneys, your lymph system, start cleaning yourself out. Get your bowels cleaned out. Get on the GI broom, stomach and bowels, put yourself on a program, get the fungus out of you, dear one, and you'll be in good shape. You're a pretty woman. You'll be in good shape. I love each and every one of you. Thanks so much for tuning in to the YouTube site. I know we have a specialty site, you know, and we're just here to help. And if I can help in any way, we're here to do that. And if you have some serious, serious problems, like a couple of these, you don't wait. You call. You get a hold of us. Because I don't like to wait when your breast is being chewed off, or like this preacher man who's feels like he's getting ready to leave the planet. We can fix you and we can bring you back. Do a lot of that. So don't be afraid to give us a call and get on the right track. So have a great afternoon. Of course, I don't know when you're going to get this. So enjoy the day. Namaste, and may the blessings be, dear ones. Take care of yourselves. Be strong. And don't lose your power or your joy to anything or anyone. Get it back. All right? Love you guys.